Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into something we all face but maybe don't always want to think about: aging. Specifically, we're going to explore some fascinating insights on how to navigate our modern 80-year lifespan era, looking at the absolutely crucial connection between our mental state, our physical health, and our spiritual readiness. Our roadmap for today's explainer comes from a book called The Laws of Rebirth by Ryuho Okawa. We are going to be zeroing in on Chapter 2 of the text, which offers a highly structured philosophical approach to aging, illness, and health, really tackling that modern fear we all have of outliving our own bodies. It's kind of fascinating when you think about it, right? Modern medicine has created this wild paradox. It does this amazing job of keeping us alive longer, but simply adding years to the clock doesn't automatically mean we're adding quality to those years. Humanity has literally always wished for longer lives, but now that we have them, we are faced with this massive new challenge. How do we actually spend an extended old age without just lingering in a hospital bed? So to break down the solutions from the text, we'll be looking at four main areas today. First, the ideal of Pinpin Korori, or PPK. Second, mindsets prone to cancer. Third, preventing cognitive decline. And finally, physical and spiritual independence.
Let's jump right into Section 1, the ideal of Pinpin Korori, or PPK.
So what exactly is PPK? Well, it's basically the ultimate goal for old age, according to the author. It stands for living vibrantly and healthily, that's the Pinpin part, and then, when your time finally comes, passing away quickly and peacefully, which is Korori. The entire goal here is to live life to the absolute fullest and entirely avoid becoming a long-term burden on your family or the medical system. To really put this into perspective, think back to the 1960s. Back then, the average life expectancy for a Japanese male was just around 65. But today, we are living in an 80-year lifespan era. That means we literally have about 2 extra decades of free time post-retirement. In the past, you basically worked until the end of your natural life. Now, if your health starts failing at 65, that could mean 20 years of suffering. That's why hitting that vibrant PPK ideal is an absolute game changer.
Moving on to Section 2, mindsets prone to cancer.
Now, this is where it gets really profound. The text outlines two very distinct psychological mindsets that, if suppressed for 10 to 20 years, can actually manifest physically as cancer cells. It asserts that our minds and bodies are deeply intertwined. First, you have the aggressive type. This is someone directing destructive energy outward, constantly harboring hatred, anger, and hostility toward others. Then you have the self-punishing type, where that destruction is directed inward through strong guilt, being way too strict with yourself, and constant self-condemnation. These long-held negative thoughts act like a spiritual poison that eventually attacks the physical body. So what's the antidote? According to the text, a truly peaceful mind and the feeling of self-forgiveness are absolutely key. And for all you perfectionists out there, listen up. You have to learn to accept yourself, even if you're only hitting a 70% mark. Letting go of those long-held grudges and giving yourself a break is framed as a vital, preventative health measure. Let's shift gears a bit. Section 3, preventing cognitive decline. The author poses a very direct, hard-hitting question here. What is the primary criteria for preventing senility? And the answer is incredibly simple: the reading habit. Specifically, reading at least one book a week is the standard used to gauge if someone might become senile. Now, I know, as we hit our 40s and 50s, presbyopia kicks in, our eyesight gets blurry, and reading becomes a total chore. It's so easy to just stop. But the author insists, no excuses. Go get proper reading glasses, buy books with larger print, and keep reading. Forcing yourself through that physical barrier is your ultimate firewall against mental decay. And it goes beyond just reading. The text lays out a highly specific, practical daily routine. We're talking reading books regularly, studying languages via radio or TV, tackling original text materials, and get this, doing 100-cell math calculations while timing yourself. The biggest piece of advice here is to totally discard your adult pride. Even if it feels kind of silly or childish to practice handwriting or do basic multiplication with a stopwatch, that active, challenging stimulation is exactly what keeps the brain's pathways alive and firing. All right, bringing it all together with Section 4, physical and spiritual independence. There's a really fascinating progression outlined here. Step 1, engage in joint-friendly exercise, things like walking or aquatic workouts to safely drop excess weight. Step 2, use that physical upkeep to maintain your independence, avoiding falls or sudden weakness. And Step 3, use that hard-earned independence to properly prepare your mind for the afterlife.
You can't just focus on the brain. You have to maintain the physical vessel too. By staying physically independent, you aren't reliant on others, which completely frees your mind to focus on deeper spiritual matters. And your attitude during your later years? It matters immensely. The text contrasts two states, gratitude versus blame. Maintaining a cheerful, bright attitude and being genuinely thankful for your surroundings truly elevates the soul. On the flip side, complaining, getting angry, and blaming your family or the hospital creates a negative spiritual state that's literally compared to hell. Cultivating gratitude is what brightens your environment and readies your spirit. So, the ultimate takeaway is that avoiding prolonged illness isn't just about earthly comfort. Training both your mind and body to live independently is framed as crucial preparation for a smooth transition back to the heavenly world. How we manage our health, our minds, and our emotional baggage today directly dictates our spiritual trajectory tomorrow. Living joyfully and independently in this 80-year lifespan era is basically the ultimate rehearsal for what comes next.
I want to leave you with a thought to really chew on. How are you training your mind and body today to ensure a peaceful, vibrant transition tomorrow? It's a profound connection, isn't it? Whether it's finally picking up that book, forgiving yourself for a mistake, or just taking a walk around the block, every little action is a step toward that vibrant, independent ideal. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep learning.